Hey, brothers and sisters. I want to talk about how we view each other or those who fight the good fight, or how we've allowed other people to interpret our words and actions, or how we should view each other. I had touched upon the subject on my original channel, but since that's no longer there and I didn't say those videos, you know, I can't go back and repost it. I wish I could. But I often talk about respect. We need to have respect for each other. We may not always agree with each other, but we got to learn the art of agreeing to disagree. But something that's always troubled me since I was a little boy is that we vilify those who will speak about the issues that affect our people every day. I remember growing up back in the 80s, how every day in the 1980s, you saw something about Sharpton, Farrakhan, or Jackson. And every last one of those black men came under fire at some point because all they wanted was better for their people. The media stopped putting out lies that there was race hustlers, poverty pimps. I mean, look at the rumors, what they said about Reverend Jackson, about he had a part in King's murder and Farrakhan had a part in Malcolm murder. Now, if anything, those was really true. And as much as we talk about conspiracy theories and then people hate Farrakhan and Jackson, when you think the FBI or the government or the local municipalities that dealt with these assassinations would have went back and said, let's open this up, let's get these guys. But they know they didn't have anything to do with it. They know they had people within that they paid and infiltrated these organizations. But that didn't stop them. People need to understand. J. Edgar Hoover and other people have put stories out to discredit. Remember, it is a well-known fact that J. Edgar Hoover went to paid reporters, to put unflattering stories about the civil rights movement. So it's not that hard to believe and think that they still haven't been practicing that same technique before the movement and after the movement. I know a lot of people talking about Reverend Jackson, Reverend Sharpton, Minister Farrakhan, Reverend Wright. They supposed to be men of God. Well, you know what? They're men. Understand, they're men. They're fallible just like everybody else. They take a crap, they take a piss, they throw up, they sweat, they cry. They had to wash their ass just like all of us on this planet. But we've allowed people outside or people with self-hate interests from within to twist their words. Now, do I agree with everything these men have said? No, because I haven't heard everything these men have said. And I know you haven't. But what I have heard and what I have seen, a lot of the stuff they've been said has been taken out of context or just twisted. I remember there was a time where I actually started to believe that Minister Farrakhan was anti-Jewish. Until one day I was watching TV. I think it's either Nightline or the Donahue show, where he was on and he was just being treated so rude, condescending by the host. And I think it's probably both shows. So, and I remember my mother and father used to say, hey, he's a Muslim. Because I remember back then, it wasn't popular to be a Muslim. I'm not a Muslim now, ever been. I don't think I can make it within the nation because of my eating habits or my beliefs on religion. But anyways, I started to pay attention to certain things and look around the community. Anytime the brothers in the nation was in the community, they was well dressed, they was polite. I remember on the corner of Central and Division, brothers would be out selling the newspapers or the oils or whatever. And as a kid, they would say, hello, young brother. Hello, young sister. Be careful. Don't cross the street. Cross at the light. Never saw them do anything wrong. When they went into the housing projects to clean the housing projects, in which they did keep a lid on shit. And see, a lot of people forget that part of history. The gang violence started to drop. But who started bitching the most about it? The ADL and these other politicians. Oh, we can't have no Farrakhan up in there because they was messing up the drug flow. Get them niggas high off that crack and stuff. So what did they do? They brought about these so-called charges, anti-Jewish talk, which we've all heard chopped up over the years. But if you go back and listen to the complete audio, read the complete transcripts, he didn't say that. How many of y'all know that a black man was sent to interview Reverend Jackson? Reverend Jackson thought he was talking to a brother, got relaxed and made a comment off the cuff that was derogatory. But nonetheless, he thought he was talking to another brother. What did the brother do? Took it back to the newspaper, and what did they printed it. But a lot of people forget why he said what he said. Reverend Jackson was getting death threats, and guess what? It's a particular group of people that claims victimhood was out there speaking against him. A lot of these videos that was on YouTube, they've been taken down because a lot of us have started referencing these videos. And when Reverend Jackson picked the nation to give security, those people got pissed off and they started calling him the Black Hitler. Not saying he's a bad man. They went to the whole Hitler reference. Tell me what a black man has done as much harm and damage as a white person. Tell me. Especially Hitler. When Al Sharpton was marching for Tawana Brawley, she said she was raped. They went and got a so-called black witness all of a sudden saying that it didn't happen. And everybody kept saying, well, she must be lying because the girl disappeared. Don't think that people are our friends. Don't think that people got our best intentions. The late Dr. Khalid Muhammad was suspended from the Nation of Islam because he was under orders by Brother Minister not to say anything. The very same thing that happened to Brother Malcolm. Not saying what Dr. Khalid didn't say was true, but it was a reason why Brother Minister did not want him to say what he said. The nation was under attack. The Million Man March was just about to go down. Sometimes we can be our own worst enemy. You have to have a leader, a hierarchy. Now, as I said before, I don't agree with everything these men have said, but we cannot deny the media has distorted the image. Look at Reverend Wright. If y'all go back and listen to that, I tell anybody to go back and listen to that speech. And let's not take the goddamn America part out, but listen to the whole speech. You can't tell me that the United States haven't done any of those things that he said. But the fact that it came out of a black man's mouth pissed off a lot of people. You don't have to be religious to understand what was going on, what he was saying. But the fact is, nobody in this country wants to be called out on shit, especially by black men and black women, but more so a black man, because we have been emasculated the last 500 more years. This is why I was telling some sisters that I said, we all experience racism, black men and black women, black children, but it's a special kind of racism reserved for the black man. He don't want us to be leaders. He don't want us to take leadership, but yet everybody's questioning our manhood. How can you question our manhood, but the moment we say something, we're wrong? Think about it. Every black man has spoke, whether famous or not, have been critiqued among his own people because people are worried about what other people think. How many pastors who are white or Mexican or presidents or other groups have said things about our people and nobody's issued a policy and nobody's held to the same standards? See, when people start talking about, well, Malcolm and Farrakhan or King and Jesse and all these other things, this shit is put out there by men and women in the media. If you go back and research their names and where they come from and their ideology, you'll know what's going on. A lot of people are bringing up about Reverend Wright giving an interview to that guy, Joe Klein. Now, I'm not Joe Klein. I forget. John Klein, I forget his first name. No, it's Klein. He used to write, for Newsweek or something like that. First of all, I understand why some people said, why did Reverend Wright talk to this guy? But you have to understand, Reverend Wright was seriously hurt by a man that he thought was a friend, a man that looked to us like a son. Okay? Now, if President Obama, then Senator Obama team did offer him money, that means that Mr. Obama and his squad, his team was a bunch of hypocrites. But at the same time, I got to be honest, why did Reverend Wright speak to this man? This man has an ulterior motive. But then I had to say to myself, why did any black person talk to the white media, given the history of this lies and distortions in this country? But then again, black media has disappeared. When the riots happened, or the King riots happened back in '68, they needed reporters, and they went and robbed the black news organization of reporters, and people thought, oh, we're integrating, we overcome. What did Paul Mooney say? The illusion of inclusion. Excuse me. And that's why we got these debates in our community. A lot of these stories have been lies. And then people say, well, Farrakhan's on video trying to dance around it because he knows what's going on. They trying to distort shit. When the Malcolm X movie came out, that's the first thing people brought up. This video out here that I even made video. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is why I don't like the false flag in the black channels. Because people actually go out there and do the research and show you what is being said and is being done. But if y'all have to take my word for it, go out there and do your own research. Oh, just look at what's going on just the last few days. What they brought up Reverend Wright, and they kept in every news organization, whether it been here in Chicago, the Chicagoland area, or around the country. They never played the whole thing in clips. They play him screaming, and then they go to the no, goddamn America. They cut it off. They never talk about anything before or after. You have to understand. You have to make the black man out to be stupid. You have to make him out to be paranoid or lazy to justify the things that's being done. This is why our women and even children, even some men don't respect us as black men because of the lies and distortion. The average white person, when they think of black men today, they'll say thug, gangbanger, lazy, baby daddy, murderer, all the most negative things on the planet. But you never hear them say father, provider, friend, lover, brother, mentor. They do this stuff on purpose to keep us at odds. Then you got self-hating black men and black women. And we know right here on YouTube who they are. At least some of us do, who keep shit going. Because they like the benefit of dysfunction. Like you slide and say, look at them, man. Look how they over there acting. I'm not like them. So before we start throwing our leadership or spokesmen or representatives or however you want to describe them under the bus, understand this. They're human beings too. They have said and made mistakes, but a lot of the things that have been reported are exaggerations. As I said before, if you've been following my videos, I met Reverend Jackson on this show. He's a humble brother. He's like your father or your grandfather. He's concerned about his people. A lot of people call him Messy Jesse, and he's a this and that. And a lot of the terms y'all use have come from white people. This is why I don't laugh at those jokes they make about Reverend Jackson, Reverend Sharpton, Minister Farrakhan, Reverend Wright, Dr. King, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, or jokes they make about what's her name, Rosa Parks. Remember when Barbershop, when Cedric Entertainer character went off and did what he did? All he just opened the floodgates for more dissension. We got to start respecting each other. We got to understand that everything we say or do is not going to be perfect. Everybody's not going to agree. But when you got people outside the community setting the tone, and you guys are repeating or believing that shit, they already won. This is why I say learn your history, control your dollar. Because there's a lot of misinformation been spread. Like I said, do I agree with everything Brother Minister say? No. Do I agree with every tactic that Sharpton and Jackson have used? Did I agree with everything Reverend Wright said? I haven't heard everything Reverend Wright said. Or Sharpton, Jackson, Farrakhan, or King, or Malcolm, or Marcus, any of these other brothers. But you got to understand, they out there speaking to a people who has been in pain. People have been mistreated. Brothers and sisters, we got to stop fighting among each other because everybody's getting fed off our pain. And I fear by the time we realize it's going to be too late. We done let too many other people of color come in here and step over us and then turn around and start emulating the mindset of those who are racist or those who follow the ideology of racism. We got to stop spreading this story about Farrakhan had something to do to Malcolm. It's a famous clip out here that Farrakhan did. He was on Arsenio Hall show. He said, open it up. He said it multiple times, open it up. If you do the research, you know damn well that he didn't have nothing to do with it. But yes, was Farrakhan wrong to go against Malcolm? We don't know what Malcolm said behind closed door. We don't know what Farrakhan said behind closed door. You have to understand, what Farrakhan and Malcolm did, they put a man, a human being, on a pedestal. And when you start elevating people to godhood or think they can do no wrong, it clouds your judgment. Both men judgments were clouded by Elijah Muhammad. It's been widely reported that Elijah Muhammad had young women, young girls. This is why I say he's a human being. These guys do the same thing everybody else. And when Malcolm went public with it, the nation got mad. But guess what? Malcolm was manipulated into going out there saying something because reporters brought it back to him. How did the reporters get their information? How did they know? Because they was being monitored by the government. This is why the Black Panther Party was screwed up. People infiltrated them. This is why I tell y'all, when somebody leave a comment on your channel, really do the research. Watch the patterns. Go to their channel and see what videos they've watched and what they favorite. Now, that doesn't always mean because somebody say favorite or like that they actually like or favor their video. They keep it for their records. So you have to be careful. But if you don't understand the tricks or comments or what people are saying and doing, you will be misinformed. You will be played. You will attack the wrong people. Notice how any other ethnicity have a spokesman or person speak up, no matter how repugnant it may be, or even some truth to it, they would never ever throw each other under the bus in front of us. We need to understand that we are under attack, and it's been going on for such a long period of time. People say, hey, don't fix it. We're benefiting from it. And some of our white counterparts who are starting to realize it, albeit very slow, now they coming over to the table, and we don't want them over to the table so much because we can't trust them. And we have a legit reason why not to trust some. But don't throw your own over or run them over or throw them under the bus or run over them. I'd rather listen to these men and women who've spoke about our pain than somebody who has little or no connection to us. So before we start saying this person did that, let's get the facts. I mean, even if these people did say it, understand what was going on around them and understand the mindset, then maybe you can understand certain things. This is why I try to give our people the benefit of the doubt. I really do. But there are times when you got to cut your losses. But I'm going to tell you something right now. Think about the attacks these men and women have gotten. And you have to ask yourself, why? Who's been writing what? Who said what? If you think I'm exaggerating, just look how they did Reverend Wright, Shirley Sherrod, Van Jones, Desiree Rogers, or any other black man or woman associated with the black community, or a potential voice or associated with Mr. Obama's White House. Andrew Breitbart went out and lied on Shirley Sherrod. Look how fast NAACP and other blacks bought into it. Because anytime they say something, we jump. And whether they believe it or not, that showed that a lot of our brothers and sisters have a slave mind. Just like when the Acorn thing happened, I knew damn well no white man and no white woman walked in the Acorn office dressed like Huggy Bear and the prostitute from the 1970s. And people in the black community and white community believe because they think that's how we are. Y'all got to start thinking and understand that there's a motive to everything out here. People were saying do anything to discredit us. They would do anything to keep us divided. Think about it.